If you've ever been to Banff, you'll know how incredible this small Canadian town is. Surrounded by lakes, rivers and mountains, this is one of the most scenic and beautiful towns in the world. Last year, we made the decision to pack up our lives and head to Banff. Our aim to spend the next few seasons living and working in this awesome little town in the Rockies. And today, we are going to take you around Banff and give a little insight into how and why we made the move here almost a year ago now. And also some of our thoughts on what it's actually like to live in one of Canada's most visited tourist destinations.
Okay, so we just stopped for a beer on Banff High Street and we're just going to tell you why we decided to move to Canada. So a little bit of a backstory. Me and Brenna have been travelling the world together since 2017 and we normally just work for about a year and a half, and then we go travelling for about a year and a half and blow all of our money, and then we have to earn more. So our last stint of work was in the US, and we worked in Florida for 6 months and then we worked in Wyoming for 6 months, which was super cool, and we love not working in the UK because you earn a lot more money with tips because we both work in hospitality. And so that was another reason we chose to move to Canada, because we knew the tipping culture was much better than the UK. So the options were Canada, New Zealand and Australia, because they're places are really easy for us to get a working holiday visa, or an IEC is what it's called here in Canada. And you have to be under 35. Some countries were 30, they recently upped it to 35, and you can actually get 3 years in Canada now, which is pretty cool. You get 2 and then you can extend for 3. And getting your PR as well is also not impossible here. Some countries like America are very difficult to try and get that, so we thought this would be a good place to choose, see if we like it. Maybe we'll stay forever, who knows?
So that's why we chose Canada, because it's real easy for us to get a visa here. And also, we love the mountains. We like the outdoors. So that's why we knew we had to live somewhere in the Rocky Mountains, because, I mean, it just looks nice, right? And we enjoy hiking, we enjoy the outdoors, we enjoy skiing and snowboarding, and we like a lot of outdoorsy stuff, basically. So we knew we had to choose an outdoorsy town in the mountains, and that's kind of why we settled on Banff. I know there's a lot of different towns in Canada where you can do all them things, but I don't know, Banff is just, I mean, honestly, I just Googled Canada and I went on images, and the images I liked the most were Banff.
There you go. Okay. Cheers. Oh, I should probably mention as well, the whole main street is closed in the summer, which is really cool, because then all these cool little patios pop up. They're not here in the winter, and you can sit anywhere and have a beer. Okay, so it's absolutely chucking it down. The actual plan for today was to go to some nice scenic viewpoints, maybe climb Tunnel Mountain, go by the Bow River and just, talk to you about moving to Canada. But the weather has other ideas, so we're currently at Banff Avenue Brewing, and across the street is Añejo, which happens to be our absolute favourite place for tacos and margaritas during their happy hour. And as luck would have it, it's happy hour. So yeah, let's go over there. We'll continue this conversation whilst I get a different beverage somewhere else.
So, like Danielle said, this was genuinely intended to be a little tour of Banff whilst talking about some of the important aspects of moving here. But the weather definitely had other plans. So this kind of turned into an unintentional happy hour tour of the town. This is Añejo, which is a Mexican restaurant on Banff Avenue. And we've been here a couple of times before because we like their tacos and particularly their half-price margaritas during happy hour. And today I decided to go wild and order something I've never tried before, a smoky mezcal margarita.
She ordered the smoky one and I told her she wouldn't like it, but she's ordered it anyway, so let's see if she likes it. I just tried it. It tastes like an ashtray, but Brenna likes it, so as long as she's happy, that's all that matters. It smells like a campfire. No, it's not for me.
Okay, so time for the nitty-gritty of actually moving here. I won't lie to you, it's not the easiest place in the world to move to. You're definitely going to need some money behind you and a little bit of patience and a little bit of luck. Housing is extremely difficult to come by. It's also extremely expensive, but if you don't try, you'll never know. So you should definitely come and give it a good try. We came out with a few $1,000s, well, quite a few $1,000s, because you're going to need deposits for your apartment. So for reference, we live in a basement. It's a 2-bedroom basement, and we pay $2,200, including no utilities. So we also have to pay for our gas, water, internet on top, which is pretty steep, I won't lie to you. If you want to get a room somewhere, you're probably looking at about $1,100 minimum for a room plus utilities, and then you need deposits as well, which are normally about the same as 1 month's rent. So we needed to pay a $2,200 deposit plus first month's rent up front. So you're looking at nearly $5,000 plus your bills, which is quite a lot of money. So you definitely need to come with some. When we first arrived here, we just booked an Airbnb for 1 month, and that's how we managed to find everything. I feel like Facebook groups are going to be your best bet to try and find somewhere to live, because people put up ads, or you put up a really cheesy ad about yourself. So me and Brenna were like, hello, we love traveling, please pick us.
So yeah, like Danielle said, we did end up spending a lot of money just to move here. Our damage deposit and first month's rent up front was $4,400, plus our Airbnb for 6 weeks was just over 4,000 Canadian dollars. So that was almost 8,500 Canadian dollars just on those two things. And that doesn't include any spending money yet, or our flights from the UK, which were around 600 Canadian dollars each. If you are coming here on an IEC like us, it is worth mentioning that you will need travel insurance for the entire duration of your visa, and they will absolutely check this when you land in Canada. We paid about 1,300 Canadian dollars each for insurance for the entire 2 years. We also had to buy all of our household things because we came with just a suitcase each. So stuff like kitchen utensils, winter clothes, bedding, towels, even stuff like an air fryer, a bin, lamps, coffee table, stuff like that. I feel like we didn't really think about how much all of that stuff really adds up to, but it ended up being quite a lot of money. And we bought most of this stuff whilst it was on sale or from cheap places like Walmart and IKEA.
How is that, Brenna? So basically, before you come here, you're definitely going to need to have a good amount of savings behind you, because you're going to have to pay deposits for your apartment. If you want to buy a car, you'll also need to have money for that. The average car is going to probably cost you about 5,000 to 6,000 Canadian dollars, but that's for like a crust bucket. Also, we haven't mentioned our utilities, our gas and electric. Because we didn't have any credit in our name, they've got no proof you're going to bother paying your bills. There's no like record of you ever paying your bills on time. So for all they know, you could come here and just never pay your bill, but you know, they're giving you the gas and the electric. So you have to pay a deposit on that, which I think was about $700 deposit for our gas and electric bill to cover if we didn't bother paying the bill on time, basically. So you need a deposit also just to have gas and electric in your apartment, depending on where you stay. Some places you stay, that all your bills will be included, but where we stay, that's an extra on top. So just that's another FYI.
So obviously your experience might differ, but our rough total of what it cost us to move here was about 14,000 Canadian dollars between the two of us, plus any spending money for like groceries, car rental, eating out, etc.
This one's good.
Just before we got here, everybody would be like, oh, it's really hard to find housing. It's really hard to find housing. And we got really lucky. We found a place to live within around about a week. We had a viewing of a place like exactly a week after we got here. We booked an Airbnb for 4 weeks, ended up extending it by like 1 or 2 weeks before we moved into our place. But we got really lucky. So in general, it's really hard to find housing here, but generally easier to find a job. We found it the other way around, probably because of the time of year that we were here. Most of the housing that's available in this town is like bedrooms, basements. I would say don't be fussy on what you want, because it's really expensive and not amazing in general. We live in a basement. It is 2-bedroom, but it's like 500 square foot, so it's really small. Yeah, just don't be fussy. It's definitely overpriced for what you get, because we pay $2,200 plus all of our bills and utilities, and we live in a basement, basically. It's a lower level suite, but we live in a basement. Draw some man. Spicy. Okay, so finding a job was actually way more difficult than I thought it would be. We ended up getting here at the end of October / like beginning of November sort of time, which in hindsight is the worst time of year to find a job. We didn't know that at the time. We just thought, oh, we're going into winter. It'd be really easy to find a job. And we have loads of experience in hospitality between us. So I was genuinely surprised, but it took us like 4 or 5 weeks to find a job, which I think that's on the longer side of things. So I think if you get here before summer, there's definitely way more jobs in the summer because there's more tourists, so there's more people around, so there's more vacancies. But yeah, finding a job can take a while, so definitely bring loads of savings, because it took us a lot longer than I thought it would to get a job. There are, of course, plenty of jobs you can line up before arriving if you're flexible with your moving date, especially winter jobs on the ski hills at Lake Louise and Sunshine. And in the summer months, Parks Canada also hires a huge number of employees for the season, so there are definitely jobs that you can get before actually landing in Canada. And if you are looking for a job whilst in Banff, we've had the most luck by simply applying on Indeed.
Next up, the weather. Canada's weather is very flippant. I feel like this is something I should talk about quite a bit because we were so worried about the winters when we moved here. We were like, how are we ever going to cope? Minus 40, oh my God, we're going to die. Can you even go outside when it's that cold? Does everything close down? Life runs as absolute normal when it's minus 40. We actually came here to this restaurant when we had our minus 40 week in the winter, and it was absolutely busy. The problem, you just have a little layers on, you just strip off as soon as you get in, and you're good to go. Everything ran as normal. This place was heaving because it was so cold. You can't really go outside for too long, but as long as you've got the right clothes and footwear, you're absolutely fine. That's something I wish more people had told us. Like, don't be worried about the weather as long as you're prepared and you have a good amount of base layers, a ski coat and some salopettes. You don't even need to spend that much money. We bought our salopettes on Amazon for like $25 because we didn't have money at the time because we just spent all that money out on all our deposits. And they worked the job. They did fantastically. And I bought a ski jacket online in the sale, which cost me maybe $100 Canadian. The weather here, a little bit flippant. The weather's kind of crazy too, because we were here in the winter and we were like, oh my God, we can't wait for the summer. It's going to be so much fun, so much hiking, so many things to do. Then the summer rolled around and we had a really, I think we just had a bit of a dud year. The winter wasn't great because there wasn't much snow. Then the spring was really cold. Yeah, really cold, not warm, wet. Then the summer rolled around, it got to plus 30 degrees, everything dried out, and then there was that horrible wildfire in Jasper, and then everyone had the fears about the sunshine. And then everything was really smoky because all the wildfire smoke was blown in because there was quite a few wildfires surrounding us. There was one near Calgary, one near Jasper, one in the Kananaskis. So then we turned into a smoke bowl for about 2 weeks.
Smoke bowl?
Yeah, it was a bowl of smoke. And basically you couldn't go outside because it was too hot, so we were really excited about summer and it was either too hot, too smoky, and now it's mid-August, August 13th, and it's pissing down with rain. I just spilled mushroom all down my leg.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone saw. It would appear the rain has stopped.
All right, we just finished eating our tacos. It's not raining, so let's go down to the Bow River. The cost of living here is really expensive. Also, it started raining, so I'm going to make this brief. But basically, the cost of living is really high. I think it's really high across all of Canada. It's particularly high here just because of the rent. And the rent, although it might be the same price as other places, what you get for what you pay is much lower than what you get in other places. So like we said, we live in a basement, but we pay over $2,500 a month for it. A lot of the people that live here live in rooms, live in self-accommodation, and just pay a lot of money for it. You could get a lot more elsewhere for what you pay here. But if you love the outdoors and you love the mountains and you love being in the mountains, it's definitely worth it because you get to be here.
As Brenna said, it has started raining. We tried to bring you outdoors just to prove we weren't going to places to eat and drink, but as you can see, it is raining, so I've had to fashion this lovely little rain mac. But yeah, just to summarise what Brenna said, it's a gorgeous town. It is kind of pricey though, so if you're really not here for the outdoors, it's probably not worth paying the amount of money that you pay to stay here. You're better off going to Toronto or Vancouver Island or somewhere else where you can be a little bit more, if you just want to live in Canada. I don't know, the problem is I feel like just Canada's expensive everywhere, even when it comes to groceries, utilities, rent, everything. But I feel like in tourist towns, a lot of people do take the P out of working holiday people because they know you're desperate for somewhere to live, so they crank the prices up even more than they should be. So it's just up to you. You have to weigh it up and see if it's worthwhile.
So yeah, the rain did eventually push us back indoors.
A bloody miserable day. This is the worst day to do this.
We did intend on filming a bit more at Tommy's Pub, which kind of feels like an American dive bar and is also on Banff Avenue. But when we walked in, it was so loud, it was basically impossible. So for copyright reasons, I've had to mute this, but you can enjoy a few clips of Danielle dancing here. But yeah, we ended up ordering one more drink here as it was just about still happy hour, and we kind of just got to chatting about why we actually love living here. We've spoken a lot about the difficulty of moving here and some of the negative aspects, but overall we actually feel very lucky to live here. And walking out of our apartment every day and just being surrounded by mountains is such a privilege, despite the difficulty associated with moving here and the higher cost of living. Our usual system of working to save and then spending it all on travel is a little bit more difficult here because of the high cost of living, So if you are coming here to save money, then I definitely suggest reconsidering. But for the majority of people who just want a better quality of life and to live within their means whilst enjoying their weekends, then this is by far the nicest place that we've lived in terms of quality of life. Better than both the UK and the US for us personally. Like I mentioned earlier, if you are an outdoorsy type of person and you're into hiking, mountain biking, skiing, snowboarding, camping, any kind of activity in the mountains, then Banff is the perfect base for this. And although Banff can feel like a predominantly outdoorsy town, there are also a huge number of international people living here, particularly from the UK and Australia because of the accessible visa for these countries. And a lot of these people are younger and very sociable, so it's definitely possible to make friends if you're moving here on your own. Banff and Canmore seems to be the kind of place where people come for a season and end up staying like 20 plus years because it really is such an amazing place to live. Although we at times find it difficult getting everywhere without a car, particularly the Kananaskis, there is a pretty decent bus transit system here considering we're not in a major city. There are a number of buses that run around Banff and Canmore that make it much more accessible for those without a car than a lot of other towns we've been to. Also, the close proximity to Calgary, which is a pretty major city, is kind of amazing considering it's only an easy 1.5 hour drive away. And there are a few different bus companies that actually run between Banff, Canmore and Calgary. So yeah, that is a little bit about our experience living here in Banff. If you've got any questions, do comment them below. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, then please do hit the like button and also check out our channel for more travel related content and also lots more vlog style videos coming very, very soon. And of course, thanks for watching.